Namaskaram everyone. Welcome to episode 5 of Mahabharata of Ancient Stories Alive. In our previous episode, we learned about the birth of the Kauravas and the Pandavas. Today we will continue from there. When the Yadavas learned that the Pandavas were born, Vasudeva sent priests for the naming and had tonsuring ceremonies. King Shukha decided to spend the final part of his life peacefully in the forest. He was very happy to see the Pandava king and his sons. He stayed with them and taught them all kinds of warfare. Yudhishthira became an expert in javelin throwing. Bhima excelled in mace fighting. Arjuna became an excellent archer. Nakula mastered horse training. Sahadeva became skilled in animal husbandry and astrology. On Arjuna's 14th birthday, Kundi and Pandu celebrated with a feast for the Brahmins at their hermitage. It was a wonderful and joyous atmosphere. That breezy evening, Pandu and Madri went to a beautiful garden with lush green surroundings. Pandu could not control his love for Madri. Despite Madri's attempt to resist and remind him of the curse by the sage Kindama, Pandu persisted. Tragically, Pandu died immediately and lay lifeless. Madri, fearful and distraught, cried for Kundi. Kundi, her 5 sons, and all the sages gathered to see Pandu lying motionless. Kundi expressed her anger towards Madri for Pandu's death. Madri explained that she had tried her best to avoid it and told him many times, but he never listened. She felt that death came in the form of his love for her and admitted her responsibility. She decided to sacrifice herself along with Pandu and asked Kundi to take care of the 5 children. Kundi immediately replied that she would sacrifice herself with him, but Madri convinced her. Madri argued that Kundi would care for both sets of children equally, that Kundi's Yadava family would take good care of her, and that Madri felt responsible for Pandu's death and should therefore sacrifice herself. Madri's words convinced Kundi to take care of both her own children and Madri's. There is a serious misconception about this sacrifice nowadays. In the olden days, this sacrifice was never forced upon anyone. It was a voluntary practice carried out with proper rituals and the permission of family, elders, and relatives. If any one of them objected, the sacrifice would not be performed. It is said that those who voluntarily sacrifice themselves in this manner will not feel any fire. It would feel like divine flowers falling on them. Even the sages agreed with Madri's decision and allowed her to sacrifice herself. The next day, Madri took a bath, performed puja in the temple, removed all her jewelry, and sought permission and blessings from all the sages. She then sat on the funeral pyre with Pandu's head on her lap. Yudhishthira performed the funeral rites for both Madri and Pandu. The Pandavas performed all the last rites for their father and Madri for 13 days under the guidance of sages. After a few days, all the sages advised Kunti and her sons to return to the Hastinapur and accompanied them there to leave them safely. As the group entered Hastinapur, the city buzzed with excitement and curiosity. The arrival of Kunti and the Pandavas was like a grand festival, drawing everyone from commoners to nobles. The streets were lined with people eager to catch a glimpse of the illustrious Pandavas whose reputation had preceded them. In the palace, the atmosphere was equally charged. Great figures such as Bhima, Drona, and King Balika gathered to witness this momentous occasion. Their presence signified the importance of the event, and the attention of the Pandavas commanded. As the crowd settled into the hush, anticipation hung in the air. One of the sages chosen to speak on behalf of Kundi. The other sages and the Pandavas stepped forward. His voice was calm yet resonant, carrying the weight of their collective hopes and concerns. He addressed King Dhritarashtra with respect, acknowledging his position and wisdom. The sage's voice was steady and reverent as he recounted the story of King Pandu and his life in the forest. He spoke of Pandu's dedication to meditation and his fervent longing for sons, a desire that was fulfilled through Kunti's divine boon. With deep respect, the sage narrated the birth of each Pandava, highlighting the celestial prophecies that accompanied their arrival. When Yudhishthira was born, the voice from the heaven declared that he would grow to be the most righteous and strong king of his generation, blessed by Yamaraja God. Upon Bhima's birth, the heavenly voice proclaimed that he would be the strongest man on earth, blessed by the power of Vayu, the wind god. Arjuna, born through the grace of Indra, was destined to become the finest archer, a warrior unparalleled in skill and valor. The birth of Nakula and Sahadeva, blessed by the Ashwini gods, came with the prophecy that they would excel as the best horseman and astrologer, respectively. The sage emphasized that each of the Pandavas carried the divine qualities of their celestial fathers, making them extraordinary in their own right. He then recounted the tragic events that led to Pandu's ultimate death and Madri's self-sacrifice, explaining how they ascended to the heaven. The sage reminded Dhritarashtra of the duty that remained to honor Pandu and Madri with royal last rites, befitting their status as king and queen. With solemnity, the sage presented the ashes of Pandu and Madri to Dhritarashtra, urging him to perform the final rites in a manner that would honor their memory and solidify the Pandavas' place in a royal lineage, emphasizing the Pandavas' rightful lineage and the virtues that defined them. He conveyed Kunti's deep respect for the royal family and her hope that her sons would be welcomed into the kingdom. The sage spoke of the desire to live in the harmony and the readiness to prove their worth, reflecting the humility and strength of their noble heritage. Concluding his speech, the sage highlighted the Pandavas' commitment to contributing to Hastinapur's property. His words left a profound silence in the gathering as everyone awaited King Dhritarashtra's response. The air was thick with expectation, underscoring the significance of the moment and the weight of the prayer for acceptance. Saying all these words, sages who came from Himalayas along with them disappeared from the palace. Though King Dhritarashtra ordered the royal last rites for Pandu and Madri, he was not pleased with Kunti and the Pandavas' arrival. The thought of Yudhishthira, the eldest son, being a rightful heir to the throne troubled him deeply. Dhritarashtra was anxious about his son Duryodhana's prospects and feared that Yudhishthira's presence could jeopardize Duryodhana's claim to the kingdom. Despite his concerns, Dhritarashtra's orders were carried out, and Vidura, overjoyed by the decision, led Kunti and the Pandavas to Pandu's palace. Golden statues of Pandu and Madri were crafted, and their last rites were performed with great honor and ceremony, accompanied by generous donations. Kunti and the Pandavas then settled peacefully in Hastinapur, ready to honor the legacy and contribute to the kingdom's future. With this, we conclude episode 5 of Mahabharata. Join us next week for episode 6, where we will explore the young lives of the Kauravas and Pandavas in Hastinapur. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest episodes. Thank you.